This message is for the pastors of our church. I've been asked many times to come in and help fortify a church and prepare them for an active shooter situation. But I've never been asked probably what I think is the most important question. What is causing our kids to kill? What's causing our kids to become murderers and have the ability to do these mass shootings? Now listen, there's a lot of factors that come into play. Video game violence and media violence, desensitization to killing, and things like this. There is a lot of factors. But the studies that I've done and the situations that I have studied, I found one common denominator. In over 90% of our cases, we have found that the active murderer comes from a broken home. Beyond that, in over 50% of the cases I've studied, we find that the active murderer has come from a home where there were signs of domestic violence or actually calls of domestic violence in that home. In over 50% of those cases. So what are we seeing? We are seeing that the breakdown of a godly father figure inside that home has caused these young men to not have a clear and direct outlet. Listen, the majority of our mass shooting cases are young men. They're not females and they are not adults. They are young men. And what's happening is they don't have a godly figure in their home to show them, guide them, and mentor them into how to become a man. How to use that energy, how to use that testosterone to guide and direct their life in a path that will be a successful path. Pastors, there is a solution to this problem. Yes, fortifying your church is great and having an active shooter response team is great, but we want to change the heart. And there's a solution to this program. It's called the Royal Ranger Ministry. I grew up in Royal Rangers, and listen, Pastor, if you had Rangers in the 80s or 90s, it is not the same Ranger ministry that it is today. We are evangelizing, equipping, and empowering young men to be Christ-like men, to become lifelong servant leaders. We have updated curriculum. We use technology. You don't have a uniform? That's okay. You don't have to have a uniform in today's Rangers. You don't have awards or you don't have the money for this. That's okay. We have programs. We have the ability to give you the Ranger ministry to fit the needs of your church. Why? Because we have got to mentor these young men. We have got to provide for them a godly role model so that as they grow, they can look towards someone who can provide them guidance and advice in their life. Why? Because 90% of our mass murderers came from a home without a father. 50% of them came from a home where there was abuse inside the home from the father. We have got to change this, church. Will you partner with the Royal Ranger Ministry? Will you reach out to your district director today? We will come. We will help educate your staff. We will help educate your team. We will provide training for them. We will give them curriculum. We want to see them succeed. Will you reach out to your district director today? Will you give Royal Rangers a chance to help evangelize, equip, and empower a generation of young men to become lifelong servant leaders and Christ-like men?